All right, Eagle is in the wings, pun intended. We're going to bring him on. We've been trying to get Eagle on the podcast for a while now. It took him basically making the biggest announcement in the 2023-2024 season. We now have Eagle with us on Tour Life for the first time. Eagle, congratulations first off on the new big deal, man.
Thank you. I appreciate you guys having me.
Yeah, we are excited. I know you've been really busy this week. I know you've been doing a bunch of podcasts and stuff. And I know you've got stuff going on tonight. So we'll hopefully have you in and out of here. But we do have a lot of questions.
I love it.
The first one, I got to ask, what happened with the YouTube video?
That was so frustrating. So I upload the video because I'm going to the MVP warehouse and I have like a 4-day trip up there. The video is going to get posted on the Monday coming home. So I want it on my YouTube channel. I uploaded it private, think everything's fine. The issue was I put it on a playlist that was public.
Yes.
That's how it got out. But it was still listed as private, but I sent it over to Simon because I wanted to get his opinion. So I had to put it to unlisted. So there's like this weird loophole where there's an unlisted video on a public playlist. So like three people
can find
saw
it. Yeah.
But I like saw the view count go up by like 3 views. And I thought those were like me or Simon. So I was like, what's even going on? And yeah, that's how it happened.
Those are your most loyal fans, because the only way to find that is literally by going into that playlist and then looking through all the videos and seeing that one. So that makes a lot of sense, because people, you know, I was trying to speculate what happened, because I was like, Eagle would have had hundreds of people get notified that a new video was posted if you actually posted the video. So that makes a whole lot of sense. Hey, shout out to that one guy, man. You got to send that guy a disc or something. That is like your most loyal fan, the one that actually ended up finding the thumbnail. He's just digging through Eagles playlists all day.
Yeah, that's crazy. He'd just be scouring my page. He must have the screen up all day.
Right, yeah. and recording everything. He's just like, I'm gonna find something. I'm gonna find something. You know what I mean? And he just, there it is. Got him.
Well, you remember with Ricky, people were like, they found out the dynamicdisc.com/like Wysocki or Ricky Wysocki page was built, and then that got out, and then all of a sudden, like, Dynamic had one for every single player to try to. So it's always fun in games, I'm sure, when it comes to the speculation. The other question I had on YouTube, what's the deal with uploading all your old Patreon videos on YouTube?
Well, I just was going through my YouTube channel, like essentially trying to clean everything out. And I just figured these videos have like no views on them, and why not just post them? So I just figured, let them out in the public. I wasn't too sure if they were going to all go to everybody's feed.
They will.
The funniest thing is, like, they're just all old videos from like the past couple of years. And the one title was MVP plus GMC vlog. And like that video has like 10,000 views right now, just because of the title. I'm like, oh my gosh, people are trying to find anything they can.
Yeah, we were seeing, I mean, I've seen all sorts of things of people sending me tweets of like outlining the MVP and the mountains and stuff. Yeah. It gets wild. Another thing that I had people send me was that you ended up following MVP and Streamline. Did you follow everyone on Instagram, or did you just follow those 2 accounts prior?
Well, I have been following them because, I've just been curious. I guess it was a mistake on my part to be following them, but I didn't really think anything of it. But I don't know. It was still speculation. People figured it out, but I feel like we did a decent job keeping it secret. But the speculation became so strong that it just became what everyone was thinking.
What I mean, you've been in disc golf for a while now. Do you like that it's headed this direction where this many people care where you're going? Or do you wish it was maybe 10 years ago where social media wasn't even that big, there weren't that many people kind of following it, to where you can kind of just go literally drive your van that has your name on it with your photo, your image on it to wherever you want, and no one's really going to say anything. What are your thoughts on kind of the way that disc golf off-season movement is headed?
I'm somewhat impartial to it all. I have been thinking this a lot. Like, a lot of disc golf is turning into like, what's the latest scoop, almost like a TMZ. And I really don't like that aspect of the sport, because what I got into was this grassroots game that it was involved with the community. And there's still that, but it's becoming a lot more drama involved. But at the same time, it's a double-edged sword, because it's giving people more opportunities to play that game I love. So I see both sides of it. I lean more towards the grassroots side, but it kind of is just what it is.
Yeah, you go ahead, Yuli.
Yeah, no, I was gonna say, like, so with all the movement and everything, being a high-profile player, you also hear where other, like, let's just give like Gannon for example, like being in the position that you're in, you kind of have your little birdies, just like we have our little birdies, and you know where people are going and where they're not going, and everything. I feel like it's inevitable that stuff gets out. Are you like? So with your stuff, you said everybody kind of knew MVP, but there is like this, to me, there's like still the little edge of maybe not, maybe not. Mm-hmm. Do you think it's good that there's that little speculation, or would you rather it just be completely hush hush somehow and nobody know, which is impossible, because I feel like I have a good idea of where people are going. I don't know, because I don't have the last say, but like for the Gannon situation, did you know where he was going, especially being in, right there in Discmania?
Well, Gannon came to Colorado mid-December and came to my house to buy discs off me. But I was trying to keep MVP a secret from him. So it was Gannon, Schlebach, Gavin Babcock, and Alden all came. And I didn't think they knew about MVP. I'm sure they had their speculations, but they came to my house and they handed me a glitch. It's like, Merry Christmas. And I'm like, I don't know what this is, but I kept it hush hush. I put all my MVP discs in the closet, but Gavin figured it out, because I bought a new TV, and he was like, he's a Packers fan. The Packers were playing. So I named my TV Prism Proton. So when he was about to airplay to the TV, he started cracking up. He's like, "What's this? What's this?" The most unlikely things are going to happen. Like the
That's
secret.
So funny.
It's so hard to keep a secret, even though I felt like I did a pretty good job. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, like, I knew Gannon's secret, he knew mine. So we did a good job keeping it hush hush. But with great power comes great responsibility. Like, obviously, I remember when Paul signed his first Discraft contract. I was in the room when he was talking with his agent, and like, I knew about all that. And of course, you want to tell everybody, because it's like exciting and you get a buzz off of it. But me personally, I don't want to ruin anyone's secret.
Yeah.
That said, it's human nature. Secrets going to slip out, and there's a lot that you can do. And if you want to go to whatever length that you can to keep it, then by all means. But it's tough. It's very tough.
Yeah.
And I think there's a me and Yuli were kind of talking about this before. I think there's a massive difference between someone like you going on Twitter or Instagram or in a YouTube video and being like, "Oh yeah, Gannon's going to Discmania," versus you maybe speculating based off of something else, right? Like, if you just come out and say it, that's way different. And we've seen that happen in the past with some players. So I'm with you on that. I don't know. But again, me and Yulia have said this 1,000 times. Like, if you don't want anyone to know, just like, don't tell anyone. Just like, that's the easiest way.
The toughest thing from my perspective is I have a handful of other sponsors, and they're like wondering, like, can you re-sign with it? So it's like Whale Sex, for example. I had to say that I can't continue my relationship with them just because what my MVP contract said. So I'm like, all right, well, sorry, but I gotta cut ties for this next contract. So right then, it's like, I'm not really telling them, but I am telling them that the move's happening. And same with like any other company. So that's the tough thing. And like when you're having those conversations, you're not necessarily like, don't tell anyone. You're trying to be respectful. You're just saying like, yeah, I'm moving on from my current manufacturer and going to a new one. And then, I mean, who knows what they say, not like throwing anyone under the bus, but word spreads quick.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think, didn't the Pro Tour, I don't know if they've done it this year, but I think or maybe they did do it earlier. Doesn't the Pro Tour like send us out a spreadsheet that we have to say like who our manufacturer is? Like, oh, don't worry, no one will see this. It's like, I remember them doing that, right?
I filled that out at the very end.
Okay.
Because there's like a deadline of December 31st. I actually filled it out like January 3rd, but
yeah. Crazy stuff. I do want to touch a little bit because we have a clip, but you already kind of talked about it, so we won't show the clip, Silas. But I do want to touch a little bit about the TMZ stuff because it is an interesting, like you said, it's at a certain point, it's like, I wish it didn't go this way. But at the same time, like this is really the way that more opportunities will get brought in to the sport, to the pros. Obviously, your contract would probably not be what it was if people didn't care what you were doing off the course as much as they do. So what is it that you talked about the drama and all that stuff. Like what are, you can give examples if you have them, but like what are certain things that you wish didn't exist in disc golf right now that's happening?
And let me add to that, because one of the things that I noticed, especially over the last couple of years, is, let's say a few years back, you were everywhere. Your vlogs were like one of the most popular things possible, you know, like way back in the day. I feel like you did a really great job of really getting your brand, your personality out there. It was the first vlog that I ever remember being like, ooh, I need to see what Eagle's doing type thing. So you really helped jumpstart that kind of avenue in the sport to where now vlogs are everywhere. People are doing YouTube. People are doing that. That's kind of slowed down a little bit, I feel like, with you, or has it? Like, I don't know. I just felt like you were doing like a lot of lives on your Instagram and doing, when you were with Simon and different things like that. Have you like taken a step back from that to try to be a little more personal, focus on your game or your mental space, to kind of just go in with what Brody said?
Right. So I'd say that rings true for what Paul says. Back in the day, that was like one of the major aspects that drove me. I liked the attention, and I still do, but for now, I kind of think of it in a different light. I think about I want to start bringing more value to people, because it's amazing going out to every tournament and having people just say like they like my videos, they love watching it, and saying that I'm an inspiration. Like that's really cool. And I've had just so many messages by people saying they were in a really dark place, saying that I've helped them get through it. And that's just crazy to me. So like, I feel honored to be in the position that I am. That said, like I did take a step back to focus on my playing, because content creation is not easy. And you don't want to shoot videos that look like terrible. So it takes time to make a decent product. So it can take away from playing, but also I just, I value my own mental health, and it's a fine line for me to walk, because like I said, there's so many incredible people supporting players out there saying endless nice things, but you tend to filter through all those just to find the negative ones. And like I always joke, it's like I could go absolutely ruin my day right now if I wanted to. So kind of walking that fine line between the two. Right now, I'm actually focused on more content creation, because signing with MVP, I feel like there's some really good opportunities, and I want to make these videos. One of my goals is to get to 100,000 subscribers, which I'm getting pretty close. But it's walking a fine line, knowing what's good for you personally, but also maintaining your brand and bringing value to people's day.
Was that part of the contract with MVP? Was a social media side to it?
Just as much as anyone else. I would say even a little bit more relaxed. One of the big aspects of the MVP contract is I can really just be myself, and that's paramount playing disc golf. The more mental baggage you have is the more bogey strokes. So as much as you can streamline everything, like that makes everything better once you're out competing.
For sure. Let's talk a little bit about Simon. Now, obviously you and Simon created the the Crush Boys over on Discmania. Both of you guys were kind of synonymous with Discmania. Simon ends up leaving to go to MVP. You stayed at Discmania. What kind of influence did Simon being at MVP had on you going there?
I would say it was significant. It is a whole picture. There's a lot going for MVP, and Simon's a part of that because, I mean, you're not going to deny it. He's the most popular player in disc golf. So wherever Simon goes, that's going to be an incredible destination. But with MVP, how they've rose to fame since the shot and learning about their business model, they've really cracked down on manufacturing, like learning a different side of disc golf, really like pushing the boundary, in my opinion, and bringing it all together. And now they're attacking the more professional side of the sport. It's just something that I really felt like I wanted to be a part of. And I have a 5-year contract. So I think the next 5 years is going to say a lot of what disc golf will be in the next, for however long. So personally, I think MVP is one of the best places to be for that. And that's ultimately why I was attracted to them over anyone else.
Did you have any options to go to another manufacturer where you would be the main guy, you would be the face, and you could kind of grow or build the brand through your name solely, like more of a solo thing? Was that a thought?
Yeah, I had other offers, and Discmania obviously was one of them, which I was the guy at Discmania this past year. So I believe together everybody achieves more team. So I really thought going to MVP, having the team there, having Simon, having James, it's just that we're going to be able to help each other out, and we're going to be able to help MVP reach new heights, because how they've upscaled their whole operation has been impressive to right now, but I only believe that it's going to grow more and more. So I just felt like it was the place to be.
Was there a world where Gannon, you, and Kyle all could have been on Discmania? Was that discussed ever with Discmania?
I don't know. I think that could have happened, but it's really hard to say. I didn't know the behind the scenes discussions at Discmania, House of Discs, so I really can't speak too much on that.
Okay.
What about we know that Simon said that he actually got offered pretty much the same thing from Discmania to stay, and he decided, no, I needed a new start, I need a new place, new destination. Was that kind of the same thing with you, or was it just such a significant offer that it was a no-brainer?
No, all the offers were pretty competitive with one another, and I would say I wanted to change. I wanted to reunite the Crush Boys. I wanted to throw new discs. Playing on Discmania for 9 years, my whole touring professional career has been with Discmania, and they've been nothing but great to me. But with anything, things can get a little stale, and I have so much respect for everything they've done. But just me personally, I wanted to try something new. I wanted to see what I could do with other plastics. So to spice it up moving forward is something that I feel like Simon said it best, is going out to a field to practice, or just practicing in general. While you feel when you feel stagnant, it's like, I gotta go out and practice. But now it's like, I want to go out and practice and learn everything new. And I've been searching for that feeling, and I feel like I got it now.
Gives you a little bit of that jolt that you might have been missing these last couple of years.
For sure.
So let's talk a little bit about the actual contract and why maybe there wasn't, or what was the decision behind not announcing more details about the contract? We've seen when Ricky went to Dynamic Disc, we've seen that. We saw when Paul went to Discraft, we saw that. What was the reasoning behind keeping the contract details other than just it's a 5-year deal? What was the thought process behind that?
Personally, the MVP wanted to keep it private, and I'm lean more towards the side of wanting to keep it private. I feel like disc golf's in a weird place because we don't necessarily hear a lot of athletes talking about their endorsement deals with, say, Nike, Adidas, or whatever. Team sports are a different thing because teams have salary caps. So disc golf's kind of functioning in that weird in-between zone where you could go either way. Personally, it's not information that I felt comfortable with, and MVP felt the same way. So that's basically why we haven't disclosed anything.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. I think in one side, it definitely does help the sport in some way of, Paul announcing 10 mil, 10 years. I think that definitely had an impact on Ricky's deal of what he got. But I agree with you on, I think the onus needs to be more on the players and their agents. And speaking of which, do you have an agent? Did you have someone helping you with the deal?
Yeah. I work with an agency, Feature Card Management.
Okay. So I think the onus should be more on the player and the agent and the manufacturer themselves to try to figure out what makes sense. And when you have all these numbers kind of getting thrown around like that, it also kind of makes it weird too for some of the players, because it's like, if we knew how much Simon was making and then you came in and you were either making less or making more, like that can create a weird dynamic between you guys. So it is, you nailed it on the head. It's a weird dynamic of where people like demand or expect to know the details when it doesn't really add up to what we see across the board in other sports. Yuli, did you have anything to add to that?
No, I think honestly, when I look at all those things, I think that there's just like a ceiling, and that ceiling is that $1 million mark. And for me personally, when I see somebody sign with a company and they don't mention that it's $1 million, it's probably less. And to the player, that can be like, okay, so I'm not the guy, and I'm just speaking candidly here. I do think though, we should all probably have some sort of out with that and be able to say, like, there is no ceiling for how much I can make, because I know that's true in your case. I feel like that's true. Like, there's no reason Eagle can't sell so many discs that he's making millions of dollars. You know what I mean?
Right.
And if you have a cap to where they're like, oh yeah, no, there's a ceiling, you can't do that, then I feel like there's probably a problem with your contract. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so I feel like you said, there's a weird space that kind of keeps us tucked in. But if it were me, I would be like, there's not a cap to how much I can make. I can make millions, or if I, play really bad, I have a low set that I shouldn't be getting that money anyway, type thing.
Right. And a lot of it is that most disc golf contracts are based off of royalties, and you don't really know what you're getting. Exactly. And even the guaranteed money is based off royalties. So
100%.
Until it's like you're getting guaranteed money for you as a player, then it's tough to like say exactly how much.
Exactly. Like
getting.
I could say my guarantee's small, but I have the potential to make a lot. And I feel like in the space that I'm in, I probably make more than a lot of people, but I'm not willing to say that, you know what I mean? Because, like, for example, me being the captain of the team, if let's say that I just give the number that I'm making, and I'm making so much more money than like Anthony Barilla and Adam Hammis, that puts my team in a weird spot. So for me personally, that's something that I did just disclose or don't say.
Right. And it varies every single year too.
Every year. Yep.
Does Discmania own the Crush Boys, or is that something that we're going to see MVP use?
Well, they don't know it. I'm actually the one who created it.
Really?
If you look at the last one of my recent posts of me and Simon saying that the boys are back in town, if you scroll to the old picture, it was like 2017. This guy asked me and Simon to sign his truck, and we like squatted down and took a picture in front of his truck, and then my caption was, "The Crush Boys are back." And ever since then, it like took off.
Oh, that's cool.
We have seen it though with some people where like their logos are created with the company, and so the company kind of owns their logo as well. So we will see the Crush Boys stuff happening in MVP then. That's the plan.
We're trying to think of a rebrand, but nothing sounds good. And I think even if we rebrand, everyone's just going to still say the Crush Boys. I don't know what, like, it's kind of interesting because Discmania did make Crush Boys stamps, And yeah, I don't know what really the future holds. Potentially that MVP will explore that market, but we'll see.
Gotcha.
Yep, that's it.
Oh, there's the photo. There you go. Look at that. Heck yeah. All right, random question. This was actually from one of our listeners. They wanted to know, how has it been eating meat?
Whoa. Well, actually, I'm making some barbacoa right now in the Instapot, so it's been great. It's been great. Yeah. It's a weird subject because it can be controversial, and I've always been careful because every once in a while, speaking of like ruined my day reading comments, there's been just times of people like old vegan fans just ripping me a new one in the comments, and I'm like, it's actually kind of funny, but yeah, it's been great. Much easier to eat just everywhere in general, but energy, muscle mass, everything is just improved. And that's not to say that you can't do it with a vegan diet, but essentially to do it right, you have to go to the lab and get every sort of supplement, do blood work. And for what I do, that's just too much work.
What was your first meat item? Sorry, I just got to ask that real quick. What was your first piece of meat that you ate after?
Well, the first thing that I started doing to eat meat was my friend Daniel. He owns a company called Tribe Vitamins, and they do desiccated liver supplements from grass-fed bison.
Yeah, that was not the answer I was expecting, but maybe I should have expected it from you.
But I started taking bison liver because liver is known as like nature's multivitamin. A lot of great protein, choline, and B12, like essentially all the stuff that is hard to get as a vegan. So that was the first thing I did. But the first time I took like a bite of red meat was I ate a bison burger, and I was eating it. I was like, this kind of tastes like a Beyond Burger. But ever since then, it was like, I was like testing the water, seeing maybe I'll just go back to vegan, but I'm not going back anytime soon.
Because you didn't do like cheese either, right? You didn't do any animal products?
Well, I was vegan for about 10 years. I was basically raised vegetarian. My parents, when I was very young, set me off on like a pescatarian style diet. So it's always been like, I think probably before the last 2 years, I ate red meat like once in my life, and just some fish, chicken, turkey here and there, but mostly vegetarian, mostly vegan all my life.
How was it like? Did it like taste bad? Because I was a vegetarian growing up too, and when I first, like my first ever meat that I ever made was McDonald's chicken nuggets, which might not even be chicken, but I remember being like, man, I don't like this. Like, this doesn't even taste good. It's got that like weird meaty taste. Did you go through the same thing to where it was just like kind of gross, or the texture was just like, okay, yeah, this is.
I was definitely a little suspect of it. Like I said, with the bison burger, I was like, kind of tastes like a vegan substitute. But once I got used to eating it as like, I'll be a little controversial here, but we evolved eating meat, and it's so ingrained in our DNA that going back to it is like, you as a vegan, like I craved meaty type things like protein, mushrooms, like that's all just your brain telling you want to eat meat. So after like a week, I was like, all right, let's do it. I remember my girlfriend made a steak, and my first bite of steak was like trying to compare it to something vegan, and there was like absolutely nothing I could compare it to. And I'm like, oh, I get it. I get it.
Well, what about, so let's switch subjects a little bit, because you said you're gaining more muscle mass and different things like that. How's the injury coming along with the shoulder? Kind of dive into that of what you're feeling for this next season, how the recovery process is coming.
Yeah, so I'm just over 12 weeks post-op right now, so coming along good. doing PT religiously. Just before I got on here, I did one of my 2 sessions I do every single day. I've been going twice a week, and then just doing a bunch of other modalities, sauna, red light, the whole 9 yards to get back, heal as well as I can. My plan right now is to begin my return to throwing program next month sometimes, which will entail just very light throws, putting, but hopefully the goal is to be back by Champions Cup, which would be the first major mid-April, and that's right at the 6-month mark, which generally speaking is when you have the more or less the okay to get back to sport.
Okay.
Nice. So off season, pretty much just physical therapy. Are you able to like putt at all, or are you doing anything left-handed?
I've just started throwing some more left-handed shots because a lot of it too is like you don't want to do the follow through with your right arm, but the weather hasn't been so good. But once the weather gets nice, I imagine I'll be throwing some left-handed shots. And the plan right now is to actually go and play the All-Star event left-handed and maybe putt right-handed. So it's all coming along. Just figured like I earned the spot playing and might as well take a free trip to Florida. So it's all coming along good. And yeah, putting I'll probably start putting in the next like 1 to 2 weeks.
Someone did ask, do you think you could cash playing left-handed?
No.
Okay.
Not right now. I would say if I had to put a rating on myself left-handed right now, I'd say maybe, if I'm being generous, maybe 950, 930.
Oh, you're not even getting into tournaments.
Not even getting into tournaments. But I do notice, like, if I put like a few days of deliberate focused practice in, I get good very fast, just because like I know what to do. I know how to train. So like if I wanted to spend like 2 or 3 months really focused, I bet you I could get up to 960, 980 pretty quick.
Yeah.
All right, we'll let you go here in a second, but I do have to ask a few more questions. First one, real quick. Was there ever a thought of retiring from disc golf and becoming a kendama player?
Okay, so this is funny. I was on Smashbox the other night, and Terry was asking me, like, was there any like take by anyone who's like was just ridiculous? And they're like, that just made you like, wow. And I was like, couldn't come to think of it, but you saying that, like, me going pro kendama, that was probably up there.
Okay.
But no, if people want to, or at least for me, like when I see like a pro kendama player jam, it's absolutely insane. The amount of hand-eye coordination and just like the muscle memory is insane. Maybe they feel the same way watching disc golf, but watching like a pro kendama player compared to disc golf, I'm like, that's way more impressive. So I would have to sell my soul to get that good. I'd probably have to put like 15 hours of work in every single day, and I probably still wouldn't be that, because some of the best guys have been playing since they've been like 4 years old.
Yeah, nutty. All right, without saying TMZ drama stuff, what are some pet peeves? We haven't had a new guest on in a while, so this segment hasn't come around. So what are some pet peeves that you have going into the 2024 season being sponsored by MVP?
I will say I don't want to name names, and I'm definitely part of the problem to a certain degree, but just the amount of complaining on the Pro Tour. It's just like, I feel like people are always complaining about something, whether it be tee pads, baskets. I'm like, okay, there's definitely issues there, but man, it's like, you can't really fix them right then and there. So
I kind of forgot about that Facebook group. That Facebook group is pure comedy sometimes. There was almost okay, we can't get too much into it, but there was almost a revolt at one of the tournaments where they're like, hey, do not do this. And someone was like, no, everyone do this. We're starting a revolution against it. Yeah. And I was like, you're gonna cancel the tournament. The player, if that ever got leaked of like the conversations and stuff that was said in that player group, oh my gosh. It is nuts what some people complain about.
It really is.
It is pretty crazy. And I'm not perfect. I complain as well, but sometimes it's turned up to 11. I'm like, geez, what is going on in people's heads?
Nice. Yuli, you got the final question.
Yeah. out of all the players on tour right now, you look at all the games, all their attributes, who's somebody you look at and you go, man, that's nice. I kind of wish I had a little bit of that.
Oh man, it's probably like, what's the top? AB's definitely up there. AB is just an all-around impressive game. I'd say like our styles are pretty similar when I'm 100%. But I'm trying to think. It's a lot of the European kids who just like have this massive forehand, perfect technique, and once they dial it in, it's going to be like perfect.
A couple of them are coming over to play a lot more too.
Right.
A lot more of them are playing in the States next year.
Right. So no one's really come into the top of my head right now, but yeah, just the young kids overseas.
Seems like AB gets a lot of those. He's always like, oh my gosh, AB speed is insane. Or a lot of people pick Gannon's crazy putting, which is an obvious one. But yeah, great answers, man.
Sweet. Well, awesome, I know you're a busy guy, so we'll let you go. But congratulations on the new deal. Do you want to plug any stuff that's coming up? I know you have some discs maybe right now that people can. Oh, you got them on hand. Here you go.
Yeah. So the only thing I really want to plug is Prism Proton Envy, hopefully coming to a dealer near you. This is my first signature Team Series disc with MVP. As soon as James threw in the shot, I had Envy. It is such an amazing disc, like hybrid putter / mid-range, just like a disc that I've been wanting to throw for a long time. So I figured the Envy's got to be my first signature disc, and I can't wait to go out and throw it. That's
the one that's so good that you named your TV after it.
I named it after the plastic.
The plastic. Okay.
Proton.
Very nice. All right. Well, hey, we appreciate it. You're welcome on whenever, and we wish you the best of luck leading into it, and look forward to seeing you playing left-handed in the All-Star event.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you, Eagle, so much, man.
Appreciate it, brother. Congratulations.
All right. See you guys.